Let's talk man to man for a second. You ever been in that confusing situation where a woman tells you she's not interested? Maybe she says she just wants to be friends, or she's not ready for anything serious. But then, right after that, she keeps texting you, liking your posts, complimenting you, or even flirting a little. It's frustrating, right? One minute she's pulling away, the next she's giving you just enough attention to keep you wondering. You start questioning yourself. Did I misread the signs? Is she playing hard to get? Should I wait it out? Here's the truth most guys don't hear enough. When a woman rejects you but still acts interested, you need to handle it a certain way, and fast, or you'll get stuck in emotional quicksand. That means constantly overthinking, wasting time, losing confidence, and even putting your life on hold for someone who may never come around. I've been there. A lot of men have. And the mistake we make is thinking if we just wait a little longer, or do something different, maybe she'll change her mind. This guide is here to help you avoid all that. We're going to break it down step by step. What's really going on when she acts like this? What she might want? What you should do? And most importantly, how to stay in control of your time, emotions, and self-respect. This isn't about playing games. It's about getting clear, being a man who knows what he wants, and not settling for confusing behavior that keeps you guessing. Let's get into it. 1. Notice the fake interest for what it is. All right, first things first. You need to open your eyes and really see what's going on. One of the biggest mistakes men make is ignoring red flags because they want something to be there. But when a woman tells you she's not interested and still acts like she is, that's not attraction, that's confusion. And brother, confusion is not love. It's not respect. It's not even real interest. It's a trap. Now, let's talk about what this fake interest looks like in real life. Maybe she told you she's not ready for a relationship, but then she's texting you late at night, sending selfies, or venting to you about her day. She might say you're such a great guy and she doesn't want to lose you, but then she dates other men or ghosts you for days. Or maybe she rejected you directly, but then still flirts with you in group settings, compliments how you look, or acts jealous when you talk to other women. This isn't a love story, it's a power game, whether she knows it or not. See, some women like the attention, the safety net, the validation of having a guy orbiting around them, ready at her convenience. She might not even realize she's doing it, but the impact on you is real. You're left stuck, waiting, overthinking, hoping. That's not where strong men stay. A man who respects himself learns to see through this behavior. You've got to be honest with yourself. Ask, does her behavior match her words? If she said no, then continues to treat you like a backup option or an emotional support system, that's fake interest. Here's something most guys need to hear. Just because a woman gives you attention doesn't mean it's valuable. Not all attention is good attention. Sometimes it's a test. Sometimes it's boredom. Sometimes it's manipulation. Either way, it keeps you in a holding pattern, wasting time on someone who already made her decision, and you're stuck hoping she'll change it. You need to observe her actions objectively, like a man watching from the outside. Strip away your feelings for a minute and just look at what she actually does. Does she initiate? Does she follow through? Is she available and consistent? Or is she all over the place? Because once you can spot fake interest for what it really is, you take your power back. And that's what this is about. Not about being bitter, not about getting revenge, but about protecting your time, your energy, and your self-worth. You've got bigger things to do than chase someone who's keeping you in emotional limbo. From this point on, your job is to see clearly. No more lies to yourself. No more excuses for her behavior. Recognize it. Call it what it is. Then get ready for the next step, because observing the fake interest is just the beginning. 2. Diagnose the problem without asking her. Brother, when a woman gives you mixed signals, the worst thing you can do is ask her to explain herself. I get it. You want clarity. You want to know what she's thinking, why she's acting like she likes you one day, then pushing you away the next. But if you rely on her to give you the answer, you're giving away your power. You don't need to ask her anything. You can figure it out yourself by paying attention and trusting what you see. Let's be real. Women rarely say exactly what they mean in these situations. Not because they're cruel, but because they're emotional creatures and sometimes don't even fully understand their own feelings. She might say she's confused, or that it's complicated, or she doesn't want to hurt you, but none of those things give you direction. If you sit around waiting for her to give you permission to move on, or clarity on where you stand, you're putting your life on hold for someone who already rejected you with her words or her actions. You've got to become your own detective here. Diagnose the situation based on how she behaves, not what she says. For example, let's say she told you she just wants to be friends. Fine, that's her call. But then she keeps texting you like nothing happened, tagging you in memes, flirting in DMs, even hinting at maybe someday. That's not clarity. That's emotional bait. Here's what's likely going on. Either she's keeping you around for attention, or she's unsure of what she wants, or worse, she enjoys the control. Maybe she's just lonely. Maybe you're giving her the kind of emotional support no other guy does, and she doesn't want to lose that. But notice this, she still doesn't want you. That's the part that stings, but it's important. You don't need to ask her if she's leading you on. You don't need to ask her if she still likes you. You already have all the data you need. The moment you hear, "I'm not ready," or "let's just be friends," you take that as the final word. Anything that happens after that, the attention, the flirting, the teasing, is just noise. Don't let it confuse the message. See, diagnosing the problem isn't about figuring her out. It's about figuring you out. Why are you still holding on? Why are you letting her behavior keep you guessing? Why are you making excuses for her when you know deep down what's going on? This is where men level up. When you stop needing a woman to validate your experience, and you start trusting your gut, your eyes, your logic, that's strength. That's growth. The moment you stop chasing answers from her and start standing firm in what you observe and decide, you reclaim control over your emotions, your direction, and your life. And that's exactly what we're going to build on in the next section. 3. The power move. Why silence can be the best option. Now that you've recognized the fake interest and diagnosed the situation, it's time for the move that separates boys from men. Silence. Not ghosting, not sulking, strategic silence. The kind of silence that makes her wonder, wait, did I lose him? That's power. Most guys do the exact opposite when they feel rejected but still sense interest. They overtext. They try to prove their worth. They hang around, hoping she changes her mind. They stay in touch, thinking they're playing the long game. But in reality, they're just making themselves too available. And that kills any mystery, attraction, or curiosity she might have had left. Let me tell you something. The moment you stop reaching out, she feels it. Hard. Imagine this. You've been the guy she could always count on to answer her texts. You were there when she needed a little ego boost. You were the safety net. And now? Silence. No good morning texts. No reacting to her stories. No checking in. Nothing. Suddenly, you're the mystery. You flip the script. This is not about playing games. This is about creating space, not just for her to realize your value, but for you to regain your emotional ground. When you go quiet, you stop feeding the situation with your attention. You're no longer the predictable guy waiting in the wings. You're now the man who respects himself enough to walk away when things don't serve him. And here's the twist. Women notice absence way more than presence. When you're always there, you're background noise. When you're suddenly gone, you become the question mark in her mind. Why did he stop talking to me? Did he move on? Did he meet someone else? Let me give you a real-world example. A guy I coached was in that exact situation. A woman told him she wasn't looking for anything, but kept messaging him, flirting here and there, keeping the door cracked open. He stayed in it for weeks, hoping it would shift. It didn't. Finally, I told him to go silent. No warning. No dramatic goodbye. Just stop feeding it. 2 weeks later, she was the one texting him, asking what happened, where he went, and suddenly she was rethinking things. Now, to be clear, silence doesn't guarantee she'll come running back, but that's not the point. The point is, silence gives you the space to stop being manipulated, to stop feeling stuck, and to regain your confidence. It forces her to reflect. It forces her to question. And it lets you move forward from a position of strength, not desperation. A man who knows his value doesn't beg for attention. He steps back, observes, and lets his absence speak for him. Ready to learn what to do with that space you just created? 4. The emotional detox. How to move on without resentment. When a woman plays with your emotions, rejects you but still lingers in your life, drops crumbs of attention, and keeps you confused, it stings. It bruises your ego, your pride, and even your sense of worth. And when you finally step back and go silent, like we talked about, there's something else that creeps in. Anger. A lot of men carry that anger forward. You might start telling yourself that all women are like this, or that you'll never open up again, or worse, you start playing cold games just to protect yourself. But that's not strength. That's a wound still bleeding underneath the surface. The truth is, if you want to level up, not just as a man, but as someone who leads his own life, you've got to detox that emotional junk. Not just the pain, but the resentment. Let me tell you about a guy I knew. Solid dude, ambitious, smart, great energy. He got caught up in one of those emotionally confusing situations. The girl said she wasn't looking for anything serious, but still clung to him emotionally. When he finally pulled away, he thought he was done. But months later, he still brought her up, still sounded bitter, still had that edge in his voice like she owed him something. And guess what? That bitterness was slowing him down, blocking him from meeting someone real, from focusing on his career, from feeling like himself again. So how do you let go without dragging emotional baggage behind you? First, you've got to remind yourself, you didn't lose anything that was ever really yours. She said no, she didn't choose you. And that's okay. That doesn't mean you're not good enough. It just means she wasn't the one for you. Say that again if you have to. She wasn't the one for you. Second, take responsibility, not for what she did, but for how long you stayed. That part's on you. And it's not about blaming yourself, it's about owning your part so you can grow from it. That's what mature men do. And finally, pour your energy into rebuilding you. Start doing things that remind you of your value. Hit the gym, pursue your goals, reconnect with your brothers, start a new hobby. Not to distract yourself, but to invest in yourself. Because once your life feels full again, she fades out of focus on her own. You don't have to hate her to move on. In fact, the strongest move you can make is to wish her well. Then keep walking. That's how you detox emotionally. Not by suppressing your feelings, but by processing them and then deciding you're done letting her live rent-free in your head. This is the part where men heal. Quietly, powerfully, without drama, just peace. When you're ready, we'll go into section 5, and it's all about rebuilding your confidence after the storm. 5. The friend zone versus the hope zone. How to know the difference. 2. There's a dangerous space a lot of men find themselves in after getting rejected, and it's where most emotional confusion lives. It's what I call the hope zone, and if you're not careful, you'll confuse it with the classic friend zone. But the truth is, the hope zone can be even worse. Now, we all know the friend zone. That's when a woman clearly sees you as just a buddy. There's no confusion, no flirting, no late-night texts, no accidental touches or mixed signals. She treats you like one of her girlfriends, nothing more. It might bruise your ego, but at least it's honest. The hope zone, though, that's a trap dressed like opportunity. It's when a woman says she's not interested. Maybe she tells you she's not ready or wants to focus on herself, but then still acts like you're more than just a friend. She compliments you. She leans in during conversations. She plays with your emotions just enough to keep you thinking, maybe, just maybe, if I stick around long enough, she'll come around. Sound familiar? One guy I worked with was deep in the hope zone. She had rejected him 6 months earlier, said she wasn't in the right place, but she still called him almost every day, still invited him over to hang out, still got jealous if he talked to other women. And the worst part? He thought all of this meant she cared deep down. So he stayed. He waited. He stopped dating other women. And in the end, she started seeing someone else. Just like that. Here's how you know you're in the hope zone. You're constantly confused. You're holding on to signs. You're making excuses for her behavior. You're afraid to walk away because deep down, you still believe something could happen, even though she already told you otherwise. The hope zone feeds off your need for validation. It thrives when you doubt yourself. It tricks you into thinking patience will pay off, when really, it just keeps you emotionally stuck. Now don't get me wrong. Every man wants to be seen, chosen, wanted. That's normal. But if a woman really wants you, you won't have to decode her like a puzzle. She'll make it known. She'll meet you halfway. She'll match your energy. And if she doesn't, if she says no and still acts attached, that's not your green light to wait. That's your red flag to move on. The difference between the friend zone and the hope zone comes down to this. The friend zone is clear and honest. The hope zone is cloudy and dangerous. One lets you heal. The other keeps you hanging. Be the man who sees the difference. Don't live on potential. Don't waste your strength chasing mixed signals. When she says no, believe her. When she acts interested but doesn't choose you, protect your peace. You've got too much life ahead of you to live in limbo. 6. The mixed signals dilemma. Why does she do this? The thing that drives most men absolutely crazy. Mixed signals. One day she's warm, talkative, even flirty. The next she's cold, distant, distracted. She tells you she's not interested, but then acts like she's into you. She doesn't want a relationship, but still keeps texting you late at night or acting jealous when you give another woman attention. It's confusing, frustrating, and can mess with your head if you let it. So why does she do this? The first thing you need to understand is that mixed signals aren't always intentional. Sometimes they are, and we'll get to that. But often she's genuinely unsure about what she wants. She may like certain things about you, your presence, your attention, the comfort you give her, but not enough to fully commit. That internal tug of war shows up in her behavior. 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and you're stuck in the middle, hoping each hot moment means something real. One guy I knew had a woman tell him she didn't want anything serious. He respected that, at first. But then she kept calling, kept inviting him to events, even asked for advice when things got rough in her life. So he thought maybe she was slowly coming around. He waited. He gave her space. He stayed available. And in the end, she started dating someone else. She used him as emotional support until someone she really wanted came along. And that's the other side of the coin. Some women, not all, but some, know exactly what they're doing. They know you like them. They know you're holding on. And they feed you just enough hope to keep you close without ever fully choosing you. Why? Because it feels good. It's validation. It's power. You become the emotional backup plan, the attention source, the just-in-case option. It's not always malicious, but it's still damaging. Here's the thing. A woman's mixed signals aren't your responsibility to decode. Your job as a man isn't to chase clarity from someone who won't give it. It's to recognize the pattern and decide you're not going to play that game. When someone truly wants you, it won't be mixed. It will be obvious. It will be consistent. You won't feel confused. You'll feel chosen. You need to stop personalizing her confusion. Her actions say more about where she's at than what you're worth. And your job isn't to fix her or wait for her to get her act together. It's to protect your emotional peace. So when you see the pattern, hot and cold, yes and no, come here and go away, step back. Stop reacting. Let her figure herself out while you move forward. Because you don't rise by chasing uncertainty. You rise by standing firm in what you know you deserve. Next, we'll talk about how to fully own your time and energy again, so you're no longer waiting on anyone to give you permission to live fully. 7. Level up. Become the guy women chase. Instead, let's flip the whole thing around. Enough about chasing women who don't know what they want. Enough about sitting in confusion, trying to interpret mixed signals like it's your full-time job. That chapter's done. It's time to level up and become the guy that women chase instead. And before you say, "Yeah, but I'm not that kind of guy," let me stop you right there. Every man has the potential to become magnetic. It's not about being rich, famous, or ridiculously good-looking. It's about the energy you carry, the way you walk into a room, the way you own your life. That's what women feel. That's what makes them curious. That's what makes them chase. I've seen it happen. One of my boys was stuck on a girl who led him on for nearly a year. She liked the attention he gave, but never committed. When he finally got sick of it, he shifted hard, started hitting the gym, focused on his business, traveled more, even cleaned up his wardrobe and posture. But here's the key. He wasn't doing it to impress her. He was doing it for himself. He was tired of feeling small. He wanted to take control again. Fast forward 6 months, that same girl came back around, started showing interest again. But by then, he didn't even care. He had options, confidence, direction. He had built a life that felt good with or without her. That's when women notice. That's when everything changes. See, the guy who gets chased isn't desperate. He's disciplined. He doesn't beg for attention. He chooses where to give it. He doesn't wait around for mixed signals. He reads them once and moves on. He doesn't try to be liked. He lives a life so full that women want to be part of it. The guy women chase is the one who's building something. He's got passion in his eyes and momentum behind him. He's not texting 10 women hoping someone replies. He's focused, selective, and rooted in purpose. His self-worth doesn't depend on how someone else feels about him. It comes from knowing who he is and where he's going. You become that guy by making a decision. You decide that from this point on, no woman, no matter how pretty, no matter how tempting, gets to throw off your focus or shake your sense of self. You decide that your time, your energy, your life is yours. You protect it. You build it. You level it up. And when you do that, the energy flips. Suddenly, you're not wondering why she pulled away. She's wondering how she let you slip through her fingers. That's the move. That's the power. And that's the version of you that never has to chase again. Brothers, enough is enough. No more chasing confusion. No more begging for clarity. No more playing second place to someone who doesn't see your value. From now on, you choose you. You protect your peace, you build your worth, and you never settle for less than real, honest connection. The modern dating world is full of lies, telling you to tolerate games, to wait around, to prove yourself. Stop. Choose wisely. Lead with strength. Let your silence speak. Let your standards rise. Be the man who doesn't get played. Be the one who's impossible to replace.